started with Coach Grub, please. Thank you.
What was your biggest takeaway from Saturday offensively?
Oh, I thought you were going to say biggest takeaway period. I was going to say I love Mish Powell, but frustrated. Obviously, I think I think everybody on the offense side of the ball did a great job of celebrating the win and realizing how tough they are, and but there was no way to come off the field without feeling disappointed. So I think getting over that quickly and getting the guys to the point where they can maintain that confidence and think about all the swagger that they played with throughout the season and getting back to that. So for us, the biggest problem obviously was in the pass game was pressure. I think we gave up one sack, but we looked at all the film, obviously, went through it, and there was just way too many times when the pocket was dirty and there was guys running open and just couldn't get a throw out. And I think Mike had at least 6 or 7 throwaways, like legitimate, just getting the ball out of his hand, throwing it away, and that's way too many. I'm okay with a couple in the course of a game, but bad pockets shouldn't force you to throw the ball away that much. So that was a problem. And then obviously the run game, we just could not get it started. And had a couple little spurts there where we got it going, but we shouldn't have to try to tempo call every time we want to run the ball. So a lot of things to figure out, some movement things that the offensive line has to do a better job with that definitely affected our, how we executed both in the pass protection and run game, and it's got to get corrected. It certainly wasn't good enough.
How much did the kind of too deep safety look kind of just throw everything off?
No, that wasn't a problem, honestly. That wasn't an issue. It really was the movement. They did a good job of keying, motions and things like that and adding pressure with those. And obviously, same defensive coordinator as last year and played Washington State. I'm sure that there was a lot of things that in the offseason that Coach Ward tried to address, and he did a good job of that. They had a really good game plan, and at times, they certainly out-executed us, and it was that simple, and there was not many calls I was trying to stay away from. We were firing as many bullets as we could to try to get the guys in good position, and that's where I give our guys a ton of credit. You asked, what I think when we walked out of there. At the end of the day, you got to give the guys, tip your hat to them when they had to make the plays and they had to execute and make a simple throw and a simple catch, that they did it at the end of the game and got us in a position to win the game. And then, the other obvious thing that's just totally unacceptable, and I can't, we haven't had this since I've been here, but 4 turnovers in a game was, you're not going to win almost any games. I can't remember any football game I've ever been a part of and won when you had 4 turnovers. So, we were super fortunate. The defense played so well, and they did an awesome job, but just kept giving us a chance, and, got us in a position to get down there and get some field goals. And that was a disappointing part as well, right? You at least get down there in the red zone, and we have max protection on. Rome Odunze is standing wide open in the end zone, and we get a tip pass. Mike should have had a clean lane to throw on and drill Rome for an easy touchdown in the beginning of the second quarter and kind of get a little bit of rhythm going there. And it felt like every time we got a drive going that something happened, either a tackle for loss or a fumble or something like that, and just kept setting us back. So there's tons of things to fix and get better at. Luckily for us, I've said it before, and I'll say it after a win or a game that we win and we didn't play good. We got good kids, and they'll be up for the challenge. They'll be ready for this.
You moved Parker from center to guard midstream of the game. Was that just a fix at the moment, or is that a permanent move?
That was a fix at the moment. We're having issues on the inside. We need to move some people around. We were looking for answers because there was too much penetration and guys in the backfield, and so we're just trying to find a way to make it better.
In terms of him shifting and Landon playing more and Guerin not playing quite as much, is that something that you're going to continue to go with, you feel like, or
yeah,
that shuffle?
We'll keep working it. Obviously, you got to make decisions as early as possible in the week, but certainly that would be one of the answers. The other one is obviously, we're very confident Julius Bilo is going to be completely healthy this week. I think last week he was really close. I just don't know how many reps he got that were clean, that he was really ready. But, we're hoping Juice can be back and hopefully, provide some competition, if not a spark, on the offensive line.
At times it looked like Arizona State knew what was coming. They were anticipating snap counts. When you looked at the film review, did you notice you guys were tipping anything, or was there anything weird going on?
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing. I think that one of the things, and you're right, it did feel at times like, we need to change things up a little bit. But I think a lot of it was the anticipatory piece of the motions. That's where, if you really watch the film, that's where they did a good job. And, when they were timing up pressures and things like that off of motions or movements, those were the things we weren't adjusting quick enough to. And that was something that certainly was a problem.
Is that something you're going to adjust mid-game, or is that something?
We did. That's where a couple of those hits, in the third quarter and even late in the game, that's where it came from, was shortening the motion or, taking it out of the play and then, not giving the tell away. So that obviously ended up helping in the end, but still didn't get us in the end zone.
Obviously, you have to play with the guys you have, and not having Jalen McMillan out there, how much does that change your approach from an offensive perspective?
Yeah, J-Mac is a special player. There's no question. I don't think he has anything to do with what happened up front, though. And I didn't feel like, we were short skill players that, dang, we don't have J-Mac, we can't be explosive tonight. I didn't feel like that. I think Giles Jackson's a heck of a player, and it certainly didn't have anything to do with him. I think there was times that Giles had broken free and, gotten open. We just couldn't access him, and we felt like we matched up well with their secondary. We just couldn't, get that exposed enough. And we got to have better answers, that's the bottom line. You get man coverage like that, there's no way in the course of a football game we should get that much man coverage and not be able to make them pay down the field. So we'll certainly be ready for that.
What's your sense for J-Mac and Jeremy and how they're coming along for this week?
J-Mac, I feel like, is ready. Honestly, I thought he was, really ready last week. And I know we're being super cautious and trying to take care of him. And, I know he's itching to play. And but I feel like he was running around out there again yesterday, and he looks great. He does. I'm telling you, he looks full speed. It's just, a management issue to make sure that we take care of him, do the right thing for the longevity piece. And then Jerm, I'm less sure of. I think that, his strength looks great. It's improving every day. I know he really, wants to be back. I think it depends on Tuesday, Wednesday, how much he's able to rep and get part of the base plan and see if he can really get out there and do anything.
You guys talked about the cramping with Mike in the Oregon game, but some of the hits he took, did he come out of that okay otherwise too? Did you feel like that affected him?
Yeah, this week, he's actually a little bit under the weather, so I don't know that necessarily affected Mike's game. I think the biggest thing for him was, just trying to clean up so that he gets some clean pockets to throw from. But I didn't feel like, that physically there was anything wrong with him. He took, pretty good shot on the personal foul of the face, but, he got up and he was bloodied, but, he's a warrior. He'll be fine.
Mike's had a couple of balls tipped at Oregon and again this week. What are you seeing on that?
Yeah, the one was an RPO. Unfortunately, Landon Hatchett overreached the front side. He had Giles coming open on the backside, but, we kind of overreached the front side shade, and that guy was kind of right in his face. So that happens a little bit in the RPO game. You got to anticipate that a little bit. But typically, Mike is pretty clean that way. He can, change his arm slot or, push the ball around a little bit. So that was a little bit unusual. And then, as I mentioned, the tip pick was really, Mike was just trying to make a play. He knew he had Rome wide open in the end zone, and we had two guys coming clean on max protection, which, certainly shouldn't happen.
So that's more of a protection issue, not an arm slot angle.
For sure. Mike almost got around the guy. He was just so close. He had navigated himself around the front side B gap, and Mike's left arm was right there, and Rome was to his left, and he just couldn't quite push the ball around one guy and over the top of the helmet of the other guy. So, Mike doesn't get a lot of tip balls, so it has been surprising. And I know he just wanted to make that play. We had a good spot and the look we wanted.
There's nothing fans like to do more than pick out individual plays. And
No
ask
question.
what the offensive coordinator was thinking. So the winner this week is the sweep.
Fly sweep,
Kalen.
fly sweep. Yeah, I
Talk
knew
about
that's
that.
coming. So that's good. I don't mind answering that. And we had a play that we were really confident in. The fly sweep down inside the red zone had shown up numerous times in numerous ways against them. Getting a little pick crack on the outside and getting the ball around the edge. So I felt like two things. Number one, we're in a position where it was 3rd and 10. I knew that 8 was a go. So we were going for it on 4th down as long as we got 2 yards. And I felt really good that 2 yards was the minimum, if not maybe score. So much interior pressure, especially in that part of the football field, that there was a really, really high tendency that we would have been able to get the ball around the outside. Unfortunately, the DN played super wide on Troy and Jack, and we just couldn't get the play started. The crack was great by the receiver. Obviously, we just ran out of real estate there to the boundary. So the thought was, maybe you get a freebie and you hit it for the big one on the sideline. Worst case, you're going for it on 4th down anyway. So you got another shot at it. And maybe you cut it in half and you get in a medium situation. So certainly a lot of thought put into that one. And I can, I get it. Somebody's watching the game, you're in the red zone, you're losing, it's 3rd and 10, you run a freaking fly sweep, what the hell are you doing? So I get it. But we take some calculated risks at some times. We've been right on some of them, and that one we certainly weren't.
You talked about getting these guys swagger back
Yeah.
off the field, but I wonder for you as the coordinator who's had such a run here and to have a game like that, what was your Saturday night like going into Sunday?
Fired up.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off. And you can't come out of that situation like that as a competitor and be happy. And it just motivates me more. And I know that there's plenty of calls, probably multiple people in the fan base were like, what the hell is this guy doing? And I get it. They pay for tickets. They want to be fans. They can be upset. And they should be. It was a bad performance. So I got no problem with that. And I came in ready to go. I left here late, early Saturday or Sunday morning, however you want to look at it. And if anything, it just got me back to that hungry feeling, that we got to prove it and we got to prove it every week. I told the guys, hey, just go ahead and put us up against the wall, tell us we're an overrated unit and see what happens. So I'm excited.
One of the phrases I saw quite a bit yesterday after the Arizona State game was blueprint of stopping Washington. Just
Oh,
reaction
sure.
to that?
Yeah. No, there's, I think anytime you're in a football game, whether it's a pressure or a 3rd down look defensively that somebody gives or, whatever it might be, a coverage structure, there's going to be bits and pieces of that show up, right? And certainly Arizona State had seen some things previously throughout the season that we had struggled with handling, and they just amplified it. And again, these are not mysterious things, right? Like they brought cover zero and man pressure, and we just never made them pay. We never completed the ball down the field. We got man-on-man coverage, and that's what we want, and that's how you get people out of that. You let them bring it, you max pro it, you let Mike and Rome and JP do their thing, and you get them out of it. You throw touchdowns, and that's what we got to do, and we can do that.
Did the weather dull your offense at all? 'Cause
No, there was a couple times Mike told me in between one series that it was a little bit slippery, and we had left the ball out there a couple times in between TV timeouts and things like that, so which was unfortunate. And so the ball was kind of sitting there getting rained on. But I didn't. There was nothing. Mike's great like that. I mean, he's got big old paws. It doesn't typically affect him very much. As long as we got a clean ball for him, he does pretty good.
13 carries for 13 yards, lowest on both those. Was it more a product of what Arizona State was doing, or just trying to maybe force it too much with the pass game?
No, I think that, the line of scrimmage, we're getting not just, not getting yards running the ball, but we're getting TFLs. And it was getting to the point in the game where losing yardage wasn't going to be an option. So trying to find ways to get the ball on the outside. They were doing a good job of plugging up the middle and making it hard to get the ball on the perimeter. So I think that, the pass game, there were some easy man matchups that, again, we weren't, making happen. And, again, on the run game piece, we cracked a power one time, came back to that a couple different times, and we didn't, hit the pressure quite as clean as we did the last time. So whether it's pass blocking or run blocking, we certainly need to do a better job with that.
The fumble by Jalen, was that just a matter
Man.
of just fighting for the ball and?
Yeah, we look at turnovers in a football game. We never want to look at it as it's never, ever, ever going to happen. There's going to be guys that make good plays. Obviously, there was plays throughout the course of the game that I was more worried about, our ball security and how our players are operating. JP really had the ball pretty tight to his body. He didn't have his wrist locked like he normally does, but the defender made a good play and yanked it out at the end. And it wasn't great ball security, but it really wasn't bad. So that's certainly been a problem. We're seeing the ball getting fumbled out of bounds and some things like that. So we certainly are going to address that and got to get better at it. That's got to be a player thing too, where they believe that, it makes a big difference. And, that many fumbles, I think we only lost 2 fumbles all last year. So the ball has certainly been on the turf way too much. And we got to keep working at that and keep making it a priority.
Who made the mistake on the fumbled exchange between
That's always, I always say it's a 50-50 deal. It's running back and quarterback. Ultimately, I always put it on the quarterback. But Mike, again, they timed up a pressure on a motion on that one. That was probably one of the toughest plays of the night. And he had guys coming right down the A gap, and really he was just going to try to pull the ball out and throw it away. Dylan saw the edge of the formation open up and tried to keep it. And so, it's a little bit of both guys, but certainly a tough look. I think if Dylan would have secured the ball, there was actually an edge out there. He could have potentially got around that.
Giles played again, so that's his second game.
Yep.
Where are you at with him?
Well, it's week to week. It's week to week. Fair question. He, we're trying to, and that's how we're doing it with him. And he's doing such a good job of just trying to keep his eyes up and just focus on the week in front of him, get ready to play like he's going to be the starter. And whatever we can do for the team is obviously, priority number one. And Giles is all in on that. If we got more guys healthy and we don't have to play him, we'll certainly try to do that and continue to try to, preserve his red shirt. But it really, obviously, Jeremy and J-Mac, a big part of it is those two coming back.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Ryan.
Morning.
All right, here we go.
Ryan just said he loves Mish Powell.
Yeah.
Would you echo those thoughts?
Yeah, we all love Mish Powell, man. It's an incredible play. I just, I was so excited for him. Challenged Mish here a couple weeks ago to take the next step in his game, and obviously transitioning into a new position at the beginning of the season and now really being able to own that spot and just seeing him the last couple of weeks here play really, really good football. And, when guys are starting to play at a high level, it's never a shock when they, step up and make a critical play. And that, obviously came at a really important time in the game. They're in the red zone. We got to get the stop. We've been dealing with a lot of fourth downs here lately, and just to change the game. And I think, for me to just looking for him, what a cool deal. I mean, your hometown, you make the game-winning play. It's something that's going to go down in history. And so, awesome job by him.
Did you see them going inside the whole time on that play with that formation they had set up there?
On that play, specific play? Well, we've seen variations. Like I said, we've been in a lot of third and medium, fourth and mediums here the last several weeks. And so we've seen a lot of variations of route concepts and things people are trying to do to, to either set up pick routes or in here they try to, set up a route off of a pick. They're trying to, make it look like they're going to run a pick and actually glance it back to the inside. And, Mish just technically was great. Lateral, just had his feet set laterally. His eyes were perfect and he read the route and jumped it.
When you said the next step for him, what was the thing that you felt like you needed to see that he wasn't?
Just challenge him with the details of the position, and I think there's things where he's a very good player, there's no doubt about it, but then there's that next level where guys become, start making a lot of impact plays and just being able to fully grasp, because we ask so many different things out of him. We ask him to blitz, we ask him to play man-to-man, we ask him to play all different types of field zones. So there's a lot on his plate. You know, at corner, you're going to play, you know, cover 2, man cover 3. You know, at his position right now, there's a lot going on. Sometimes he's in the post, and just mastering the detail of every assignment that he had, and he's really taken that on, and very appreciative of his mindset towards straining to get better.
How concerned are you at this stage about the tackling? And I remember one in particular, one of your guys had the guy in his hands, tried to throw him down, and the guy didn't go down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a mistake for sure. I mean, there's point of attack, get the guy on the ground. You know, it doesn't matter. Once you're in the open field and you're at the point of attack, you got to get the guy on the ground. You know, he's trying to make a play and strip the ball when he's got a guy stood up in the open field, and we're hammering away at takeaways. I mean, that's something that we're, you know, really working hard to pride ourselves on, and, you know, it can't be an issue. You got to wrap him up. The next guy coming in has the responsibility of getting the ball out.
Can you comment just on your safety depth and maybe update us on Cam Fat?
Yeah, guys are, you know, he's day-to-day right now, and you know, I think the good thing is we've got some guys in there that have experience and know what they're doing out there. So I'm still confident those guys came in the game, did a great job. So
In addition to that, Vince Nunley, is he available or?
I'll leave that to Coach DeBoer.
Okay, sounds good.
Chuck, you guys are 23rd in the nation in scoring defense now.
Right.
Yet there's only one team in the country with fewer sacks than you've got.
Right.
How do you do that?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go to this stat again. I just go look at opposing quarterback completion percentages. That's all I can say. I mean, just watch, and I think it's, you know, everybody's hungry for the stat of the sacks and everything else, but I want you to watch what quarterbacks are having to do. I mean, you know, Braylon Trice barreling down at you, hits you early in the game. The rest of the day, you are thinking about nothing but about how fast can I get the ball out of my hands. And he's having, I think Braylon's having a huge impact. ZTF's having a huge impact, and people are literally trying to have the ball come out of their hands as fast as they can. And again, I don't, you know, remember exactly what the stat was from Saturday, but it was hovering around whatever mid 50% completion. And I think if you can walk away any game where, you know, they're in the mid 50s, I'll take that all day long.
Given that your defense was on the field so long in the game, almost 38 minutes, how promising was that to know they could continue to handle those punches?
Well, I think that, and we've proven this now. I talked to the guys about it the other day. There's something in your DNA, right? I mean, every human being that's ever walked the face of the earth has got a fight or flight response, you know. And there's something that's definitely in our DNA. I think, you know, the last 2 weeks, 9 fourth downs, you know, multiple critical third down situations, and you have to make a choice and you have to make a decision. And I think, you know, as a defense, we've made a decision. We're going to stand up and fight, and we're going to keep duking it out. We're going to keep battling. And I couldn't be more proud because that shows toughness. And I think one of the highest compliments I can give to anybody is to tell them that you're tough, that you're mentally tough. You got to have some mental strength to deal with that stuff. And so really proud of the guys, and I think it's definitely become an identity piece for us.
You've had a lot of teams, well, the last 2 weeks, Oregon and Arizona State on fourth down, and they're just going for it.
Yeah.
Is that maybe a little bit disrespectful to the guys, or are they?
No, that's college football. I mean, there's just, in a nutshell, you think about, you know, our offenses, you know, all the teams that are on the book, think about, you know, obviously Coach Dillingham working with Coach Lanning last year and having relationships, and their identities a little bit in terms of how aggressive they're going to be on fourth downs. That's not a shock at all. I think we practiced more fourth downs last week than we did against Oregon, and we practiced a lot of fourth downs against Oregon. So I think it's an expectation. I think people know that, you know, offensively they got to continue to try to stay aggressive to keep our offense off the field. So it's something we talk about it, you know, nonstop right now. It's 4 and out. We got to find a way to get off the field, and people are going to be aggressive on fourth down, and now we got to make them pay. And I think the one thing I'm really proud of our guys is, you know, I think the last 9 fourth downs, they're 2 of 9 and not leading to any points. So that's huge risk and gambles that people are taking when they're coming away with no points. We'll live with that all day long.
Were any of those fourth downs where you reacted really, or maybe surprised you a little bit?
No, none of them. Absolutely, honestly, absolutely zero. Knowing both coaches the last 2 weeks, there's been, I mean, literally you do studies throughout the course of the week, so you have a very good feel going into game day about when and where they're going to go for it on fourth down, and there hasn't been a single one of them that's caught us off guard. We were ready for, you know, fourth down on every one of them.
ASU obviously took a bunch of shots downfield, and you guys, you know, there's pass breakups, EJ,
Yep.
Mish, Jabbar. That's been an area that's been vastly improved.
Yeah.
When you look at that in terms of being able to get your hands on the ball, whether it's a takeaway or just a pass breakup, Where does that come from in terms of the comprehensive improvement?
Well, I think that, first of all, it comes from confidence level. You know, guys knowing, and once you make the play and then you make the next play. So I think there's a high level of confidence. I just look at, you know, I know we've talked in here a lot about EJ and just his growth from the beginning of the season. And now he's got it, you know, he's got it pegged and he's expecting to make the play every time. And you know, with Jabbar doing what he does, you know, I thought Jabbar had a fantastic game. And those guys are playing with a lot of swag, a lot of confidence. And you've got to, you know, in this game where, you know, the ball's going to be up wide and on the outside, and it's you know, you either make the play or give up a touchdown. And those guys are playing with a ton of confidence right now, and it's good to see the entire back half, you know, having the mindset, the back seven having the mindset of getting our hands on the football.
After the game, Michelle Powell said, you know, I'm happy to return the favor. You're basically talking about that the offense is, you know, theoretically on paper been carrying the team, but he's said, hey, the defense is stepping up. Have you kind of felt the same way? Like, all right, you know, it's the defense's time to shine. We got to show people what we can do. You had the 3 stops against Oregon on 4th and 3. Like, this has been an offensive-centric team, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mentality, and I think this is, you know, you put a poll out to the coaching staff. I think it's whatever it takes, you know, and I think that's the mentality that Coach DeBoer brings. I think that's the mentality that everybody in the building has every day. It's like whatever it takes. If it's 2-0, if it's 36-33, I mean, what do we need to do to win the game? And I think there's a lot of unselfishness in having that mindset and that approach that it's about the team, it's about winning the game, it's about doing whatever it takes to win the game. And so I think that's something we all pride ourselves on.
What do you see on tape from Stanford?
You know, I think those guys are doing a great job. I mean, obviously first-year staff, and there's, you know, dealt with challenges and things that a lot of first-year staffs deal with. But also I just, you know, we know a lot of those guys on the staff. They're excellent football coaches. And, you know, you really look like, hey, Arizona, I mean, they went down the wire, probably had a great shot, probably should have beat Arizona. And we know what kind of opponent. I have a lot of respect for Arizona. So, and they've been, you know, doing a great job early in the games, and then have, you know, kind of lost their footing at times. But, you know, they're going to coach their butts off this week, and their guys are going to show up, and they're going to be ready to play. And we know every week it doesn't matter the opponent; people are taking their best shot at us.
Ironman 13 has had decent games, but the Colorado game just kind of jumps off the page.
Yeah, it went crazy, man. I've just got a chance to watch that game for the first time yesterday morning. It's an incredible game. I mean, it's you're down 29-0 and you come back and find a way to win. That's an incredible performance. And you know, he made some crazy plays. There's no doubt about it. He went nuts in the fourth quarter. And you know, for a young player, he is really good. He's gonna be a great player. And, you know, just you could tell he was in rhythm and having some confidence and you know, breaking a lot of tackles and then making some explosive plays. So definitely a threat.
You said you knew the coaches down there. Do you know Bob Gregory, who was here?
Yeah, I've met him before.
Yep.
You bet. Yeah, they do a great job. I mean, those are veteran dudes, man. I mean, those guys are good football coaches, and you know, and they're working with a lot of smart guys. And you know, we've actually been following Stanford's defense on tape, just how the tape progression plays out during the course of the week, and you can see that, man, they're doing a great job. They're schematically correct and doing the right things, and you know, just trying to find ways to, you know, manufacture the win.
Did you ever run into Troy Taylor at all when he was coaching high school?
I haven't met Troy. No. No.
Any update on Thule?
Day to day.
Good.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
All right, good morning. I know you heard from the coordinators on the things continue to dive into, whether it's last week's game and just kind of, you know, looking at the stuff we can clean up, the things that actually went well also. So, but moving on to Stanford as well. So you heard from Coach Morrell, just, you know, a lot of respect for them. And, you know, much like Arizona State, they're building the program each and every week. They're going to continue to improve. So gotta be our best and focus on us. That's a lot of what we do anyway, and need a great week of practice and expect that from the guys. Proud of, I guess, in summary, just from Saturday, proud of some individual efforts. Obviously, Misha's, big play, but he had others as well, and his growth in the defense. And I thought Grady Gross did a nice job, along with the rest of the field goal unit across the board, not just the protection, but the snap, the hold, and the kick. So some big points that were scored there, and he continues to do a good job kicking off for us too. So, then unit-wise, defensively, just rising to occasion, all those fourth downs that you've kind of been hashing through, and just kind of being ready for that moment. So. Any questions?
You heard Ryan's, Mike asked his kind of mindset walking out of the stadium Saturday and waking up Sunday, says he's pissed off and all that. What was your thoughts on the offense? And
Yeah, I mean, we all know, right? I mean, that there's an expectation, when we step on the field that there's gonna be points scored and a lot of exciting moments from a fan's perspective each and every time we play. So yeah, that didn't go the way that you'd expect as far as the night, but there's a lot of grit, and there was a lot of guys that just stayed the course and just kept fighting. I know I say that a lot, but we have a solution-oriented group of guys. I don't care if it's defense, offense, but collectively as a team, we're going to continue to fight and find a solution and a way to win. And I felt that was still the case on Saturday. Being able to put whatever has happened in the rearview mirror and not dwell on that, not focus on that, whether it's a turnover or a missed opportunity, and just be able to make the next play to win. And then, I think, it's when you're most uncomfortable, right? We talk about it, and I think most people would understand this even in the real world. When you're most uncomfortable, those are your times of your greatest growth. And I think, just hearing the players talk, even yesterday, they see this as a chance where we can have greatest growth as long as we continue to just push forward, learn from it.
Was there anything about the way that they defended your offense that you would think is a long-term concern?
No, I mean, I think there's more ways and answers that we have, and things that we've already done this year. There's a chess match within the game, that takes place certainly. But we have those answers, I think, built into what we do. And a lot of it is just, when people do something, they're giving up something else, and we just got to make them pay, much like we've done for a year and a half now. And then just unfortunately, some of those opportunities were missed. And, whether it's just locking in or, just sometimes it's just one guy. You hear about this guy, just missed a block barely, or just, this play we just missed, this throw or that catch. And that's really what it comes down to. And all of a sudden you get in the rhythm, you're on the field longer, and, you're churning first downs and end up in the end zone. So it's a couple small things that, we just missed on that would have probably gotten us in the rhythm and off you're going. So plays build on plays. And, they did a good job. I mean, I tip my hat to, again, their defensive staff led by Brian Ward. I've known Brian and gone against him many, many times, gone against him the last 4 years. He does a great job. Going against him back, known him for 10 years, competed against him a lot. So does a great job running their defense.
Coach,
Kalen,
Coach, I talked to you a little bit after the game on Saturday, just about, the Harbaugh deal with the sign stealing. There's been whispers that, you guys seem to be a target of guys trying to get the signs, and you even talked about switching sides. Is that a real thing? And was there more talk about it after this past game?
Well, I think going back, especially as you get to the higher levels when there's more staff, I think there's just more eyes on people to where you got to be conscious. And I know even within our thinking about offensively, there's enough people that are out that have gone through our, circle, I guess you would call it, that are out at other places. But we've switched things up over the years, and even just with huddling and a partial huddle, just to really make sure that, we're not giving a tip of the cap or tip of the hat of just kind of what we're doing, So we're very conscious, we're very aware. I'm sure people are trying to get every bit of information to slow us down that they can.
Kalen, some people in college football never mess with the uniforms. USC, Texas, Ohio State, I think, people like that. And I think some people around here will tell you that every time Washington does it and does a one-off, they don't play well. Have you thought about that, heard about that, care about that?
I mean, yeah, when we see what happened Saturday and we're wearing a different uniform, I guess you start drawing conclusions. But I really don't believe in that. I think just, a couple things. I do fall in line with just being the traditional, like the history and all that, and that's what we are here at Washington. So, but I don't really feel like there's, and I'm not a superstitious guy, so I don't feel like it falls in line with anything as far as your production or the results. I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal for our guys to go wear a different uniform. I really didn't feel that. So we're proud of what we wear, and the traditional gold, purple, gold, is something our guys love wearing, and it represents, not just this team, but it represents decades of great football that's played here at UW.
Kalen, if I'm wrong on this, correct me, with the Adidas, you guys got to do something like that once a year with your Adidas contract, I believe.
Yeah, and I think it goes both ways, right? I mean, there's this, you want to be a great partner with Adidas, and we appreciate everything they do for us, and so opportunities like that, and it goes beyond to just what we wear on game day. It has to do with, recruiting and things like that once in a while too. There's different pieces and elements that come into play. So we love very excited, love the partnership that we get with Adidas, and it continues to grow. I think we're really building on that, and so I think there's a part with that too where we want to do something, and it's fun to do something once a year. I think that's fun. And again, I don't read into that too much. We won the game, I think that's what matters. And so the defense, I thought, played really well. So if you look at it from that perspective, the defense might really like wearing those uniforms. So I'm trying to flip the script here a little bit. But, I mean, that's, I guess I'm not reading into that too much.
So. I was just going to ask you, how much are you, directly involved in that design? Do they give you guys options? Do you have the ability to say yay or nay? I don't want my guys wearing that. How does that work?
Yeah, actually, the design of this uniform was in place before I even got here. I saw it kind of, maybe there was a chance to make a finishing touch here or there, but, you usually do that at least a year and a half, 2 years in advance. We started working on next year's strategy uniform a year ago, so, that's done well in advance. The helmet piece probably is the thing that you can wait a little longer on, and our guys did have some say in that, even as recently as earlier this spring, winter time. So you try to get a helmet that kind of goes along with the jersey, and I don't feel like our guys put too much into that, but yeah, if they have a choice, they're going to give some opinions, and so that's the direction we went, especially with the helmet.
Grub had mentioned that Mike was feeling a little under the weather. Is that something he's still dealing with?
A little bit. I think he's getting through it though, and he'll be fine. I'm really not concerned about it, I guess.
Is there any update on Vince Numbly? He didn't play. Rob said that he deferred to you on that.
Yeah, it's still up in the air on whether he'll be available this weekend. That's probably the best way to put it.
Is that an injury situation or a suspension?
It's not an injury. No.
Coach, without getting you into any trouble, looks like you've been busy on social media this morning. So when
I saw a couple of looks back there when we started the press conference. So.
Tend to scramble a little bit. When you do, talking real generically, decide to take a commitment from a quarterback, what are you looking for? Yeah,
I mean, I think you need a confident guy, but you need someone who can first of all just get the ball where it's supposed to go. You put 11 players on the field at a time, and you need all 11 of those guys really contributing at a high level. And the only way you can really take advantage of your receiving core is to have a guy that can get the ball to him, And so I know that, some might choose to run the football more, but I just think we're always, because of our offensive style, going to be able to bring in top tier, receivers and skill players to put around a quarterback, and we need that person to be able to deliver the football accurately, on time, have a high mental capacity, to be able to do that. And, I think that we attract those people, just from a quarterback standpoint. So, it's a good situation I think we're in when it comes to quarterback developing, quarterbacks that are excited about coming into our program.
Kalen, you mentioned how well the defense played. You guys are 22nd in scoring defense in the country. The defense isn't great, but you guys are stopping the opponents from scoring points, which is the goal. Do you ever feel like that side of the ball is overlooked? I don't know how you would quantify overlooked, but obviously this is an offensive power team, and you guys are getting the job done on that end.
Yeah, I think, the questions were through the spring, right? Going into fall camp, and we could see the growth that was happening. And it starts with a mindset, and it starts with the right players, and it's guys that bring a mindset like an Eddie Ulufoscio and, the linebacking core being healthy and another year older, and bringing Raylan Goforth in, who I thought played really well as well on Saturday. But, year two in the system and more guys, and I used the words banked reps a lot this spring and in fall camp, and I think that's what's happening is even with some injuries happening here and there, we're able to plug in a guy much easier and not have to change our whole approach and the things that we like to do that kind of fit our DNA. And so, they've played more confident because of it. And, there's still a guy, you guys are asking about Thule, you're asking about, these, we still have, I think, a higher ceiling when we can get all those guys on the football field at the same time. And hopefully that will happen here in the weeks ahead. But I'm proud of the way they've just kept trudging along. And like we've said, the offense gets a lot of attention, and they've just quietly worried about themselves, got rid of any of the outside noise or anything that might affect most people. And, the leadership of Chuck Morrell and William Inge just working together and keeping that staff heading in the right direction and building on what we've done, I'm really proud of them.
Did Thule's injury situation regress after the Oregon game, or were you guys just trying to manage how many snaps he's playing with that?
No, it's not about managing the snaps. He did in the Oregon game have a setback a little bit, but he's getting through it. He'll be on the football field practicing tomorrow, and we'll kind of see how that goes from day to day.
Kalen, have you coached at Stanford before?
No, I haven't. Nope. So I've been asking a lot of questions around here with those who have.
Well, there's a reason why they call it the library, because it's real quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, we get, I think anytime you go on the road, right, you always got to bring your own energy. And to me, we've already talked about that yesterday, it's just when we went to Michigan State, you got to bring your juice. Now, again, it was a great environment, but our guys were ready for, these away games, even going to Arizona. Our guys started fast because of the preparation they put in. And when you invest a lot during the course of the week, there's a confidence that exists and a readiness to go out there and make some plays that, our guys have had. So that'll be the whole approach this week is, bring the juice tomorrow, because that will lead to what we do on Saturday and our success.
Have you ever coached in a place where it was not intimidating and there really weren't a lot of fans in the stands, and you kind of had to prepare for that kind of type of atmosphere?
I think just this is a whole different deal, but I think playing in the MAC on MACtion, when it's a lot about TV, weeknight games, I think that's about as different as it gets when you think about that versus a Saturday afternoon in a packed house or a full stadium. So, was part of that for 3 years, and playing multiple games a year. So, but that's not. I think that's even on a extreme scale. I think when you're talking about what the crowd brings to a game.
Kalen, after the Oregon game, Michael was up there at the podium. Rome walked by. Said, everyone, that's the Heisman Trophy winner right there. You guys have been very transparent about your team goals. I'm just wondering if that award ever comes up in conversation.
It doesn't. The only time, and there's some things, like with our promotional and marketing, like there's things that they'll run by me and we'll talk about and discuss as far as a plan. But Mike's really, unless we just need to get a hey, you okay with this? I think it's mostly just Mike understanding and being mature enough to know that, your team success is a big part of this. And yes, our team success is going to come a lot of times because of the success he has. And he's so focused on, the reason he came back was not about winning an award. He came back to play because he wanted to do something special for this football program and win a championship for this football team. And so that is 100% his focus. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that that's what he is focused on every single day.
After looking at the film, what'd you see in the running game or lack of?
Just a block missed here or there, kind of almost like we would have maybe explained week one, just some things. And you got to give some credit to your opponent, but some things that we can certainly handle. Didn't feel like it was necessarily a physical thing. Just got to be a little bit tighter with being on the same page, and one guy getting penetration and forcing us to go laterally maybe on an inside run, and not being able to get Dylan with a full head of steam like we saw a week ago against Oregon, and now you're getting bottled up. The penetration in the backfield, early penetration, certainly stalled us a couple times, and it was the tackles for loss that kind of hurt our momentum and our drive and staying into the chains.
You're playing Dylan pretty much, you're riding him. Is there talk about maybe getting more guys in the rotation there, or are you just going to ride Dylan?
Yeah, there probably wasn't a lot of. In the Oregon game, we just felt like he had the hot hand, and he was just, in a groove. And we are still confident with the other guys that we have that we put out on the football field, but just wasn't as many reps available for him. And it doesn't mean. We still ton of confidence in him that we need to make sure we are trying to get him the football. It just was a harder deal to do given the way the game was going on Saturday.
You've been searching for a scholarship for Grady Gross?
Yeah, he's done a good job, and the challenge was there from a year ago just to raise his game, and he's continued to raise it, and our team is really excited about what he did. We recognized him, yesterday, and our team rallied around that. It was really cool, and even just his demeanor, he nailed the long field goal from the left hash, and just coming off the field. He's a team player too, and he doing his part. I know he definitely felt that he had a big role in us winning the football game.
Do you buy into the idea at all? And like you said, the defense played great Saturday. That there was maybe in the emotional gas tank, kind of not a lot left after what you guys did last weekend.
I think. What I always focus on, right, is where's our heads at, and I felt like the work was being put in, the energy was being put forth at a high level across the board. I would not have seen anything offensively to defensively that was different last week in practice. I think it'd be naive to say that there isn't something, but it doesn't mean that something that impacts you going from one week to the next. And getting off to a fast start, I think would have gotten the crowd going, and all of a sudden, here you go, and it's like, this is a mature team, and that would have been the narrative. But I really believe like our guys did not for 1 second feel like this is not going to be a problem playing Arizona State. They had the utmost respect. It showed, and again, just the way they talked and the vibe and things like that. And, we understood some history too. And then I think the motivation even just we don't talk in terms of revenge, but just knowing what happened in that game a year ago and that how that impacted our season in 2022. So our guys were, I think, motivated to go out there and play a really good football game. And so it just didn't happen the way we expected. But, again, a lot of growth that I think can come from being uncomfortable. And we've been uncomfortable a lot the last 2 weeks, and it's growth that can happen in different ways. So we'll take that. That's part of the journey and things that we will draw on as we get into more difficult times each and every week here throughout the rest of the season.
All good?
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, guys.